My next guest is co-sponsoring a bill aimed at cracking down on gang violence. Georgia Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler joins me now. Senator Loeffler, thank you very much for taking the time. Let's talk about this crackdown on gangs and what's inside this bill.
Well, thanks for having me on, Charles. Look, this bill is aimed at exactly what the president was just talking about. Our first duty is to keep Americans safe and secure, to protect families across our communities. This anti-gang statute that I'm introducing at the federal level helps update outdated federal gang statutes, making it easier to prosecute gang members and to deport illegal immigrants who conduct crime in organized gangs. You saw it last week where the DOJ came out and issued terrorism charges against the leader of MS-13. We need more of that. We need more rooting them out and stopping this senseless violence. Like you saw last night in Chicago, 15 people shot at a funeral. We have to draw the line right now.
We do have to draw the line. You know, of course, being in the Northeast, we know Long Island, New York, have been the epicenter of this sort of crime. And when you look at the victims' names, I looked over the victims' names over a 10-year period from MS-13. For the most part, all Hispanic last names, and almost every single one of the victims under 20 years old, 22, 20, 19, some single digits. And it's so heartbreaking. And again, these elected officials who push back against bills like yours are elected to provide safety for these very citizens. This is the part that keeps frustrating me, and I think the average Americans as well.
Absolutely. They're allowing chaos to happen in their cities. Where's the outrage for 8-year-old Sequoia Turner, who was gunned down in the streets of Atlanta? Operation Legend, honoring Legend Taliaferro, is so important to make people realize that we're helping defend the communities that they're not helping. We're here using federal resources to fight crime, and we need to do it today.
Senator, so the bill would enhance the sentencing guidelines, add 10 additional years in a federal penitentiary, create a federal database, and I know the goal here is zero tolerance, but there's also, I read, the prevention of gangs. Can you talk to us more about that? Because that's an issue that I think, let's get to the heart of the matter. If we can prevent young male adults or young male children from being even attracted to these gangs, that would solve a lot of these problems.
Exactly, Charles. I mean, we're looking at 1.4 million gang members across the country today, 33,000 known gangs, and then thousands of factions around that. We have to help root that out and create this database that really provides coordination between the federal, state, and local level to share information and go after these criminals quickly so that children don't get drawn up into these, or worse, targeted by the violence where we see youth murdered in our streets every single day, very senselessly.
It is very senseless, and it happens over and over again. One of my problems with all of this is the way it's communicated in the media and by politicians. They call it gun violence. A gun is an inanimate object. It's people violence. It's human being violence. It's people who kill other people more often than not that look just like them. How can we drive home the message that if politicians are disingenuous about this, they're making the issue worse?
Well, look, this is about making sure that we have the tough sentencing, that prosecutors have the tools to go after people, that criminals that get prosecuted for this get locked up for a long time, and that we deport illegal immigrants who are putting this crime into our communities every single day that shouldn't be here. We can't provide sanctuary for these criminals. We shouldn't do it. I've also moved to support the police, not defund the police. I've introduced legislation that defunds city, that defunds the police, because right now we're having this rise in crime at a time where police are being undermined by these mayors in Portland and New York and Chicago and Atlanta, and that has to stop.
Let's switch gears for a moment, Senator, if I may. President Trump saying that wearing a mask is patriotic. Georgia's become something of the ideological epicenter for this tug of war, whether masks should be mandatory or not. Where's your position on this?
Well, I don't think we need a mandate to wear a mask. We are following the guidelines in Georgia. I just spent 2 weeks going around the state. Folks are following the guidelines. I'm not really in favor of excessive government mandates when there's common sense guidelines that exist and people are following them. Look, I've been flying back and forth to Washington on Delta. They're keeping it very safe. I feel very secure being able to fly. Everyone's wearing their masks, and there's no law to do that. The airlines just ask that we do it, and everyone does it, and that's working out well. So we need to learn how to get back to life, to our normal routines, to work, to church and school. And wearing a mask is part of that.
Real quick before I let you go, everyone's watching D.C. You've got the clock is ticking. Apparently, late word today, Republicans considering that extra $600 in unemployment insurance, maybe $400. Have you taken a position on this yet, where you would be comfortable?
Look, we don't need incentives not to work. We need to get folks back to work. I've talked to many employers across Georgia that are having a hard time bringing back folks to work, and so we need to remove that incentive not to be at work. The state unemployment would continue, but right now, from what I'm hearing, I'm not seeing a big need to extend the federal unemployment insurance.